So you may be wondering how to get started with this assignment. So let's go over to idle and create some functions. Um, so the first thing you have to do is you have to kind of think to yourself, I'm going to split my code up into two different sections now. The big thing about functions is organization. So what you have to do is you have to think about a section of your assignment of your code where you create functions, and then you have to think about a section of your code that is what we might call the main function, or the regular part of code. uh, in some programming languages, everything that happens is a function, including what we would call normal code, and so they would call that the main function. It's like the function that triggers everything else to happen. So we're just going to put things down here, and they are going to be the things that run when we run the program. But up here, we're going to write some pre stuff that the computer needs to look at before we run the program. So let's, for example, say that we want to run a function called chorus. So this is a command to the computer. It says chorus. Because of the parentheses, it treats it like a function instead of like a variable. Like, because you could say, okay, chorus equals what, right? But this is like this. This is just like saying print. If I say print, it does something. It makes a blank line because I don't have anything in the parentheses. So if I say chorus, it should do something. Now, what will it do? What will it do is it will try to find a function called chorus. So we say run, and it goes to try to find a function called chorus, and it says chorus is not defined. There is no function called chorus. So, oops, wrong button. So obviously then we need to create a function called chorus. So up here, this is where we do that. So we're going to say the definition of chorus. And so this line, the def, is to say we're going to make a definition. The function we want to define, it's got parentheses because all functions have parentheses. And then it's got a colon just like an if statement or other things. So now everything indented here is part of the function. So whatever we do in here, you could create an entire program. You could go back to any other program you've done and copy and paste the code into here, and just like entire code here. And the only difference is then the main part of the code will say go do it, and then up here will do it, right? So there's no difference. This is just like a shortcut to a piece of code. And because this says def chorus, the computer kind of skips what's happening here. It doesn't do the code until you tell it, not indented in a spot that's like, not indented, that the Python reads that as the things it needs to do first is something that's not indented. So it comes down here, it skips all the stuff by the definitions, comes down here and says, oh, okay, I'll do this chorus thing, and then it runs the code here. So an example for this would just be our typical hello world message. So what does my chorus function do? It prints hello world. And every time I tell chorus to run, it's going to say hello world. So if I want to say hello world a lot of times, I could of course just put hello world and paste it over and over again, or I can call the function over and over again. There's no real difference there. And so if it's only one line of code, of course, the function's not very interesting, but this is just a sample. So hello world, then I told to do an empty print, and then hello world again. And it's really just that easy. That is a function. So I could make another function. This, I guess, is dark to say goodbye world, isn't it? It's not nearly as friendly. It's just a goodbye at night is what I mean by that. So we could say, chorus, and then we could say goodbye. And then we could say chorus, and then we could say goodbye twice. Oops. And so it would just go in this order, and it would say, okay, go up there and do this chunk of code, and then go up there and do this chunk of code. and then go up and and then go do this one, and then this one, and this one. So you see how it's like a shortcut to doing other things. And ideally, a function is a shortcut that does something complicated that you don't want to do over and over again, or something that just helps you organize your code so that you can kind of say, you know what, I just want to deal with the chorus today, and so I'm going to work on this part of the code, and I don't have to worry about the rest of the code. It's kind of a way to organize your thoughts. So you can almost think of this as like an outline, and then this as the pieces that do the outline. Some programmers will never write anything in their main function except for calls to other functions. And so that way they stay completely organized. The main function is what you might call very abstract, and the actual what happens in the programs will happen inside other functions. Okay, so that's pretty much the only tip at this point that I can think of giving you for this. So I hope that helps and you're able to make a nice song. Good luck.